Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Small island states with CBIs could possibly be given an ultimatum to stop these programs or face visa restrictions by the EU. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 18th March 2022. Details when we return.
Hubbard's Multi-Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. Gaston Brown, Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, has started a serious conversation with the European Union, the EU, regarding alternatives for funding development from the EU to that of the CBI. Details in this HGP Nightly Regional News item.
Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown is among the many first regional leaders to put in writing the European Union requesting that it rethink its intention to part out the citizenship by funding packages within the Caribbean. The EU Parliament voted not so long ago to ask the FEE to formulate a method to finally request the CBI applications to be eliminated in Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, and St. Kitts and Nevis, and all different nations permitted citizenship by funding. In essence, these nations could possibly be given an ultimatum by the EU to finish their citizenship by funding program or face visa restrictions. He said, and I quote, "I've taken the chance to put in writing to them to allow them to know the impression that they're about to inflict on our CPI applications and the impression on our economies." His letter additionally included in response to him proof that Antigua and Barbuda in all probability maintain probably the most sturdy due diligence course of earlier than citizenship could be granted.
London's Privy Council, which is Bermuda's highest court of appeal, voted 4-1 upholding the constitutionality of the law banning same-sex marriage in that overseas British territory.
The Privy Council panel, which delivered its findings on Monday morning, was split 4-1. Its ruling came after 2 days of hearings in London more than a year ago on the case between Attorney General of Bermuda and Rod Ferguson and others. Bermuda's Ministry of Home Affairs earlier confirmed that at least $411,624 from the public purse had been spent on hiring lawyers and law firms involved in the case. The case in London marked the final chapter of a roller coaster saga that at one stage saw Bermuda become the first country to approve same-sex marriage and then take away the right. But a series of court decisions meant that gay couples could get married on the island. Monday's ruling will end those marriages.
Rumors of a rift between the Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Robert Bermudez, and Vice-Chancellor Sir Hilary Beckles have been ongoing since 2021. TV6 News out of Trinidad sought a response from Sir Hilary at the St. Augustine Campus Council meeting. Alicia Boucher of TV6 News has the details.
The rumors of contention between UWE Chancellor Robert Bermudez and Vice-Chancellor Sir Hilary Beckles began swirling when the Chancellor's Commission on Governance report was laid in Jamaica's Parliament in June 2021. The speculation of a rift was further fueled with the Vice-Chancellor's reappointment, where TNT's government was also brought into the fray by the opposition United National Congress, following a revelation in December 2021 that both TNT and Jamaica had voted against Sir Hilary's reappointment. The government cited the financial state of the university as one of its concerns influencing its decision, but on a regional level, reports sought to question whether Bermudez wanted Beckles out.
So Beckles, what is your take on this whole thing that occurred?
In respect of the internal business of the University Council, in my role as Vice Chancellor, I don't think it's for me appropriate to be engaged in the internal business of council, especially those matters that are of a confidential nature, and to participate in migrating that sensitivity out of the stakeholders into the public in that way.
So Hillary says UWI has its reputation to maintain and must be cautious of how it conducts itself in the public domain. And so while any rift between Bermudas and Sir Hillary remains unconfirmed, the Vice Chancellor is making his position clear.
But suffice it to say, my response in recent years, as it will be in the period before us, I'm focusing on the future. I'm focusing on getting this university through this pandemic, keeping its reputation globally and regionally afloat, finding solutions to some of the financial problems that we are having. And we are well on our way to resolving all of these matters.
So Hillary says the future is where the action is at.
At the moment, while I'm a historian, I have no time at this moment for historical reflection. We have a university to lead, and we are taking it where it must be, and that is where my mind is occupied at the moment. Thank you.
UWI is in the process of restructuring. Alicia Boucher, TV6 News.
Faris Al-Wari thanked the Prime Minister for the opportunity to have served as Attorney General and is looking forward to his new cabinet role as a Rural Development and Local Government Minister. TV6's Jewel Brown reports.
San Fernando West MP Faris Al-Wari said in a statement on Monday evening that he wished to thank Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley for allowing him the privilege to lead the radical reforms in the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs that he said has witnessed, among several things, the transformation of the entire judicial system and the anchoring of the digitalization of all services at the ministry, which have formed the precedent for the government digital transformation. Mr. Al-Rawi was appointed as the new Rural Development and Local Government Minister after Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley advised the President to revoke the San Fernando West MP's appointment as Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs. Mr. Al-Rawi said in his statement that during his tenure as Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, he had the honor to pass hundreds of primary and secondary laws and had championed the significant improvement of many processes through delivery of plant and machinery and people in careful alignment with the law. Mr. Al-Rawi also said it is with great excitement and pleasure that he accepted the role of Minister of Rural Development and Local Government. He says it is a ministry that literally touches the lives of every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago in the places that they live, work, traverse, and enjoy. The San Fernando West MP said that he had been assigned the tremendous responsibility of driving one of the major planks of government focus by ensuring that the delivery of what he called meaningful local government. Newly appointed Rural Development and Local Government Minister Al-Rawi said that in his mind, there is not a more important task, especially as we recover from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Jewel Brown, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
St. Lucia's Chief Education Officer, Dr. Fiona Philip Mayer, has cautioned students in St. Lucia to remain vigilant in light of the recent disappearance of two teenage girls in the south of the island. Jason Darius of DBS News World reports.
In light of the two missing teenagers, Haley Davy and Darlene Daniel Pilty, both students of an educational institution in the south of the island, Chief Education Officer Dr. Fiona Philip Meyer says she sympathizes with the parents and loved ones. However, the Chief Education Officer has also cautioned students to remain vigilant.
Well, obviously for us, it is really sad. It's a sad day for us. It's an unfortunate, sad period as well, when any child goes missing, regardless of how long, or in that case, we hope for the shortest period that their families would know where they are. We can really empathize and sympathize with the families, knowing that they're not sure where their children are at this very moment. And in the same vein, we also feel that sense of responsibility towards knowing where the children are at. We have been working with our counseling teams at the various schools to just speak to the importance of supporting our children, responsible behavior, vigilant behavior, being aware of their surroundings, choosing to behave in a manner that is acceptable in terms of the friends that they keep, the people they engage with. But for us, it is always a very sad moment knowing that parents do not know where their children are.
Dr. Fiona Philip-Meyer highlighted certain measures that students can take to help prevent future instances of a similar nature.
And in this case, we have female students being impacted. We do not know what the outcome of this will be, but our hope, our desire is to have our children safely returned to their families and accounted for. And so, as a Ministry of Education, we continue to speak to the importance of being aware, the importance of keeping contact with our children, and for our young adults, our teenagers, walking in groups, being aware of their surroundings, choosing behaviors that are acceptable, allowing their parents to know where they're at, keeping their telephone numbers close by so they can alert individuals of a certain caliber as to where they're at, in particular their parents. So we just hope for the safe return of our students, and we remain committed to working with all teams, all stakeholders to ensure their safe return.
In the meantime, if anyone has information regarding the whereabouts of teens Haley Davy and Darlene Danielle Pilty, they are asked to contact the nearest police station. For the DBS News World, I am Jason Darius.
As food and energy prices skyrocket in Jamaica, the Consumer Affairs Commission, through its communications specialist, Dorothy Campbell, is advising Jamaicans, and by extension, shoppers everywhere, how to navigate the market. More in this Sandy Williams Television Jamaica News report.
According to the Consumer Price Index, food prices dropped to 1.04% in February from 1.5% in January. However, staple foods like fruit, milk, eggs, and meat are getting more expensive as inflation, compounded with the impacts of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, have led many food and beverage companies to raise prices. Nutramix, which is one of Jamaica's premier manufacturers of animal feed, announced price increases last week, citing the conflict in Eastern Europe coupled with the ongoing increase in agricultural commodities. This means buyers will certainly feel the pinch. But the Consumer Affairs Commission CAC believes shoppers have the power to save while navigating the price hike in the market.
The Consumer Affairs Commission goes back to its old adage that says, plant something. And we don't want to say backyard because not everybody has a backyard, but a container garden. Because a stalk of callaloo will grow much wider than you imagine. So we're saying it sounds mundane and it sounds pretty trivial, but I want persons to know that it will somehow mitigate, especially if you have children, on the grocery bill. Where we had brand loyalty, and some prices are higher than others, we have to now substitute certain brands for cheaper brands. We have to substitute certain foods that we used to enjoy for other types of foods, and we have to get creative. We suggest that you do a meal plan before you shop, so you know exactly if you have 3 children, two persons, adults in the house, you know exactly how to shop in order to meet those meal demands for the week.
Consumers can also use the price survey on the CAC's website to compare prices at the various outlets in the different parishes to get the best offerings. And as for online shoppers,
look for those flash sales and shop when those items are being offered at a discount. So we have to combine all the opportunities to save, and we're hoping that consumers will get out of this, and we will survive, because Jamaicans are resilient people.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.